Hello, in this video we are going to learn file handling in Python, CBSE Class 12 Computer Science. As per the syllabus and as per the curriculum, topics to be covered in this file handling is file handling, open and close file, read and write, append a file, and then standard input output and error streams, relative and absolute parts. So these are the topics to be covered under file handling as per your curriculum. Okay, so we'll straight away go to the topics and also file handling. Okay, now the questions which will be asked in this chapter as per the sample papers, okay, we in the CBSE sample papers and the pre-board questions and all. So the questions are such questions are coming. Okay, I don't think that theory questions will be asked. Okay, in sample paper, this is the question asked. This is the type of questions. Okay, like write a function in Python to count the number of lines starting with a digit in a text file. So it is number of lines which is starting, count the number of lines which is starting from a digit, to count the lines and then the lines which is starting from a digit. Okay, such question. The next OR question. So OR question is also given in this portion. Okay, for file handling, the OR question is also again based on the lines only. See, the function to read the content of the file and display those lines on screen which is either starting from D or M. So here it is digit and here it is the DRM you have to display, which is the line starting from D or M. Another question which I found is story.txt. See, here again you have to count the lines which is starting from A. So this is, I think, from the study material. Sorry, from the sample paper. Okay, now this is another question which here they are asking to display words which are less than 4 characters. Okay, this is a different question where we have to count the we have to separate the words. Okay, so such questions are coming. We'll quickly go through the chapter. Okay, so it will be, if I am taking the chapter whole, it will be a very lengthy video. So we'll just quickly go through the chapter and we'll do some programs which is focusing the exams. Okay, so the chapter file handling. So we'll see what is a file actually. It is a bunch of bytes or a memory space is called as a file. Okay, it is stored, it can be stored in a disk, hard disk or in a pen drive. Okay, now in what are the files, the different the way in which the file is being stored, the way it is being categorized into text file and binary file. Now text file, what is the difference between the text and binary file? Text file is stored in ASCII code. It is stored in ASCII code, so it needs a translation is required in the memory. Okay, when it is stored. But binary file, it is being stored in the same format as it is to be held in the memory, so no translation is required. So that's why binary file are more faster. These all things you are already gone through. Okay, these are the two different types of files. Now we are coming to the opening and closing files. Opening and closing files. In that, you know how we will be seeing how to open a file, how to close a file, what is the significance of closing a file. And after opening the file, what all things we'll do, we'll read the file, we can to write into the file, we can append into the file, and we'll see each. Opening a file is done by a function open, and it can be two syntax are available, as you can see here. This is the important thing. This is called as the file object, isn't it? File object, which is linking us with the file actually. The file object, using the file open function, we can open it. And this is the second argument which is given in the open function is mode. And these are some examples. Here it is mode is not being used, and here the file is being opened using the mode. Okay, for this is shown as R, which is represents read mode. We will directly go to the modes. Okay, what are the modes available? See, we can open a file in read mode, we can open a file in write mode. Here the B represents, with R with B represents its binary files. So if you are just opening a file in R, which then it will automatically be a text file. If you are writing RB, it will be automatically a binary file. When you are opening in read mode, it will only read the file. Okay, we can only read the file, and it has to be an existing file, otherwise it will show an error. Now write mode, it will be only a we can only write into a file, and if the file does not exist, it will create a file. Okay, it will create a file. If a file exists, it will open a file, but an important thing is the file will be the if the file exists, if any content is there in the file already, that will get deleted or truncated if you are opening the file existing file in write mode. So it will be that. Then append mode for writing only. Okay, we can write only into the file, but the thing is the append, when you open a file in append mode, it won't delete the content of the file. Okay, so if you are writing a file, so for 30 bytes you have written next, you have to 30 records you have written next, you have to add, then that can be done using the append mode. Now R plus is where you can open a file and it can do read and write, both is done. Write plus, when you give, it will do both write and read. Okay, now A plus is the file where you can write and read. And so both functions, if you add a plus sign, we can do both. Now this is the file modes. Okay, file modes. Now these file modes are being used. See, here we have used R, so it will be opening data.txt in read mode. Now the if you are directly writing the name, you can give directly the file name if the file exists in the folder where you are saving your py file. Okay, for the Python file where you are saved, if the content is there itself, or the file is there itself, you can use the name. But if it is stored in some other path or from the directory or some other folder, you have to give the file path directly from the root directory. You have to give the path. See, to avoid the confusion of the single slash, okay, single slash, or to the sequence characters. Okay, if you to avoid that the confusion, you can write a single slash with a raw string. So it is shown here. See, this is the raw string. Raw string can be used, and to can avoid the double slash, you can directly write using the single slash. And this raw string, what it does is it represents that, okay, this is represents that this is the string which is being continued is a does not contain any special meaning. Okay, it's only a raw string, and you can do like that. So this is a way for opening the file, which is the file which is stored in a different directory. Okay, so here the data.txt is being stored in temp, which is in the C drive. Okay, and F is the file object. So like this the file can be opened. Now about the file object. The file object is otherwise called as file handle also. Another name of file object is file handle. File handle, and these are the file objects. We have already file object modes, which have already discussed. Now every file, when it is opened, it has to be closed using the close function. Okay, so This is the syntax for using the close function. File object, the file object which is being linked with the file which you are using. Okay, then that has to be closed. Dot close. It will be breaking the link of the file object and the files on the disk, and no task can be performed thereafter of in the file. Okay, like this is an example. File object is out file dot close, so it will close the file. Now reading and writing files. Reading and writing files. So we have seen how to open the file, how to close the files. Then we'll see what is the read and write files. Reading and how we can read and write files. For reading the files, there are three functions are available. So that is, the first one is read function. So we'll be using along with the file object. File object dot read will read the. So if you are not giving any argument in the read function, it will read the entire file. Okay, it will read the entire file, and if you are giving any argument, it will read that number of bytes. It will read that much number of bytes. So here an example is given. See, file 1 dot read 15. So 15 bytes will be read from the file. Next is read line. Read line is used for reading and it will be returning in strings. Okay, string will be returned to reading. Now next, read. Here it will be reading the line. Read the line. If you are not giving any argument, it will read one line. It will read one line. Here, if you are not giving the argument, it will read the entire file. If you are here, if you are not giving read line, if you are not giving any argument, it will read a single line. Okay, now read lines, it will read the file. Read lines, it is read line. Okay, read lines will read the entire file, and it will return in a list. Okay, if you want the content return to be a list or entire thing, you can get using this read lines function. Okay. And now we'll see in okay, I'll take one program. File open. Okay, this is the file which is used read function, which is using read function. Okay, this I've stored the poem.txt, a simple file I've created, and it is being stored in C, Python. I've created a folder, and there the poem.txt is there. I'm going to open the file in read mode. This is the program to be written to open the file, and when you write read function, it will read the entire file. Okay, so I'll show you the file also. This is the file actually. Okay, poem.txt. This is the file, and it stores these things. Okay, a 0. Okay, remove that, and file save. Okay, this is the file. We'll see what it is displaying. Okay, now file save, and then it's already saved, and then run the file. So we are running the file. See, it will display the entire file. This is the read function. So when you do read function, it will read the entire. If you're giving one, okay, we'll suppose if you want 2 characters to be read. Okay, 2. I'm giving 2. File save, and then I'm running the file. See, it will take only 2 bytes. 2 bytes, it means 2 characters will be taken, and it will be displayed. Okay, so this is the example for read function. Now we'll go for the next function which you have learned is read line. Okay, read line. See how the read line will execute. So read line, again the same file is being used. Then I'm going to read the what it will give. It will read only one line, isn't it? File save. Okay, run the file. See, it will read the single line. It will read the single line. If you want to read the entire line, we have another function to that. Okay, then close the file. We'll take the another which third function which you have learned is open read lines. Read lines is the function. Read lines. Read lines function. Read file. Run the file. Okay. Okay. Save and run the file. See here you got the read lines. The entire file is being read, but you got the result in a in a list. So the list starts here, and the first line is being taken as the first element of the list. Okay, the next here it starts. The next it includes a /n character also, because after typing the first line you will give the enter key which stores the next line, that is the new line character, which also be taken read, and see it is being stored like this. Okay, this is how we will be getting the read lines. Read lines give the result in list. Okay, so this is how we can use. Okay, next is we'll go through the program. We can go through the next program which is there in the textbook, is reading a file of 30 bytes. See, we have already seen this, isn't it? 30 bytes. So it will give the 30 bytes read from the beginning. 30 bytes will be read from the poem.txt and it will be displayed. This is the output which will be getting, and this is also an example of that only. Okay, then this is another example given, and this is read line function. See, it will read line by line. It will be, they'll be reading line by line. Okay, now line by line read line can be used like this also. Next is okay, the entire file if you want to read using a method. Okay, for loop you can use file object is equal to the poem.txt read for line in my file. Okay, using this syntax, for variable in the file handling, file object can be given, so this will read the entire file. Okay, so this is another way of opening a file and reading the entire file using the for loop we can use with the file object. Okay, now next is, this is a program where, see, we have seen when you read the file, it is reading the EOL characters also. So if you want to remove the EOL character, how we can do? Okay, this is an example where you are using the strip function also. Strip function is also being used. So we'll see that. See, the file object is my file is equal to open poem.txt is being used and which is being opened in read mode. str1 is, we are creating a null space. Okay, we are creating a string with the empty length, and you are using size and t size. The here size is being used to store the characters or the length of the file with by removing the EOL characters or leading and trailing spaces, and total size represents the total size of the file including the EOL and the leading spaces. Let's see how we can do. While str, and it will come into the while loop. Here we are reading the first line. The first line may contain the leading and trailing spaces and the new line character also. Then we are taking the length of the as such ln of str1 will give the length of the string. Total size is 0, so the length of the first line will be stored in, including the leading and trailing spaces will be stored in t size. Next line, t size is equal to size plus length of str1 dot strip. So now strip will, what it will do, it will remove the leading and trailing spaces or no line character, and that length will be stored in size. Okay, so when the while loop get over, okay, when the one by one when you are reading the str1 till the str1 you are getting a null value, the while loop will execute, isn't it? So when you are executing, when the poem.txt ends, so then you will get a null here, and you will be coming out of the while loop. When you are coming out of the value, you must have traced through all the lines, and now the size will contain the size of entire file after removing the EOL or the end of line and leading and trailing spaces, and the total size will be here, which includes the uh, UL or leading and trailing spaces. Okay, this is a file, it's a program to that display that. So here you have seen what is the use of strip, which is coming and down also, so that is being cleared here. Okay, a strip is a function which will be removing the leading and trailing spaces. Now read lines, there is the third function we have seen, where the function which will be reading the entire file and will be getting the list as an output. See here, it is already being shown. Now next we'll coming to the program, which write a program to display the number of lines in a file. See, number of lines, how using the read lines, it is very easy. So you can use the file object yes. Now what s will be? S will be a list. S will be a list with the all the elements, and this S will be containing the first element as the first line. So you will automatically, if you are taking the length of S, you will get the count. Line count can be easily got. So when such a question comes, you can directly use read lines, and you can display the number of lines from a text, from a file. Okay. Now for writing into the file, there are two functions, write and write lines. Write line will input the string here, and whatever string it is given into as an argument will be written through this file object to the linked file. Next, write lines is another function where the L will be the list. Okay, we have to give a list in write lines, which will be writing the entire list into the file. Now next is appending a file. Appending a file, as I told, what is the use of appending a file? Because in the write, when you use write function, it will the previous content, if anything is there in the file, will get deleted. So appending will not delete the old content, it will add the content to the end of the file. That can be done using appending file. Already discussed. See here again, the same write function is being shown for writing the data into a file using the for loop. Another way of writing, for I in range of y, the name of students is being given, and file out dot write function is being used. See, write name, so it will be written. But when you write using this, it will be writing the names in a single line. See, like this it will be written. Okay, so to make the file writing in next line, you have to write it in, after writing the name, you have to write this also, file out dot write /n or plus /n here in the name. Along with that, it will do. Okay, it will bring the names down in the okay, and then you will get in the list, as a list you can get. And now here another example given for writing a function using the write function, instead of without using the write function, using how you can write using the list, how you can write. Okay, here you have used write lines. See the file out, you have opened a text file, right, and list is being created, list 1 for I in range of 5, and then the file 5 names you are going to write. So input, using the input function, you got the name here. List 1 dot append function is being used of list, which will be adding the name with along with /n we are given. So it will directly, after writing the first name, it will move to the next line. The next writing the name, when it comes, it will write in the next line only, and after the for function is over, it is being written into the file. Okay, so you got the output like this, you will get the output like this. Now along so many examples are being given. Okay, we can just go through. Okay, now next a function which comes is flush function, which is being used to force the written data in the buffer to the file. Okay, to just forcefully we are copying or removing the data from the buffer and we are putting into the file. This can be done. The Python, the close function automatically calls, implicitly it calls the flush function, or otherwise it can be used in between also. So in between, if you want to transfer the data, it can be used using the flush function. So it will be copying, it will be removing from the buffer, it will be copying into the file, okay, from the buffer. Then as we have already discussed the strip function, we have to removing the white spaces from the file. This strip function is being used. So strip function is having a read strip is there, R strip is also there, L strip. R strip will be removing the right end space and L strip will be removing the left end space or new line character. Okay, it is being used. We already discussed this, isn't it? Now next is the file pointers. Okay, file pointers. File, when you open a file, if it is in a read mode, it will, the file pointer will be pointing to the first position. After reading, once your read one byte is being read, automatically if you read one, then it automatically goes to the next byte. Okay, like that. The file pointers are there. Now next, coming to the next content which has to be which you must know in this topic is standard input and output error streams. The standard input device is, as you know, it is keyboard, isn't it? Whatever you are giving into the computer is done by the keyboard. So standard STDIN, name it as it, that is the standard input device. STD out is display or the screen we are using. The monitor is being used, is the standard output device, and STD error for that also it is being displayed in the monitor. So it is also monitor only is the standard error device is monitor. And here for using this standard input and output, we have to import sys module. Okay, sys module has to be imported. We'll directly go to the program C, import sys, and while this is a file object being used, and line is equal to read line. We have read one line from poem.std, line 2 has been read, and sys dot std out dot write will write the data on the monitor. Okay, standard output, it will be output. And error, if error message also can be, no error occurred, it can be also be displayed on the monitor itself. Okay, this is the standard input and output and standard error being used, or objects being used. And this is for using that you have to import sys module. Okay, and next is I'm just going fast because we have to revise we have to do the problems, okay, which is based on the exam, which will be more important for us, because theory question, I don't think from theory any question comes from this chapter. Okay, they'll be asking directly the small text file questions will be asked, I think. So now another next topic to be covered is absolute and relative path. Absolute and relative path. See, you can just see this is an directory or the structure it is being shown. E is a directory, root directory, where you have 3 folders: project, sales and account, and project folder contains project 1, cl.dat, project 2, and these are the files. Now coming to the what you have to know in this is absolute and relative path. Okay, so absolute path is nothing but when you give the what do you know about full name? Full name is the name of the file with extension along with the path is called as the full name of the file. Similarly, absolute path is the same. Okay, when you write the path with full name from the root directory, it is called as the absolute path. Okay, it's an absolute path. Absolute path are from the topmost level directory structure. Relative path are the from the current directory. How we can denote. Okay, denote. So to the current working directory, you have to denote it with single dot, and with the parent directory you have to denote it with double dot. We will see how it is coming. So relative path, how you can make. Here you just assume that it is you are in the current directory is project2. Where is C project2? This is project2. So assume that you are in project2 folder. Currently you are in project2, and you have to represent, or you have to go to uh, 2.doc. Where is 2.doc? 2.doc is here. Okay, so instead of, if it is an means the absolute path, you have to write e colon slash project slash project2 slash 2. Okay, so relative path will be your current directory is this. So the relative path you have to just give dot slash 2.dat. Okay, this is the relative path. Your current directory is proj, so you just dot enter. Now if you want to represent your project, you are in the current directory is proj2, and you have to represent cl.dat. Okay, now how will you represent? Your current directory is this, and you have to, the relative path will be cl. Will first see where is cl.dat. Cl.dat is here, or you, and you are here. You have to represent this path. So how will be doing that? Okay, see, you have to go to the parent directory and then you have to represent. So if you have to move to the parent directory, so there you will be giving double dot, see, double dot slash, and in the parent directory it is directly the cl dot is there, indirectly there, so you can just slash after parent directory, you can leave this. And in the same case, if you want to represent report PRG, okay, report PRG you have to represent. So inside the project parent directory, you have to go to project1, and there you have the report. So then you will be representing it as double dot proj1 then report. Understand? So this is how we can, this is the what you call it as relative path and absolute path. Relative path and absolute path. Okay, so this finishes the chapter, actually this content, and we'll just go through the there are so many solved questions are there in your textbook, and some examples are also given. You can go through that. Now we'll directly go to some questions which is focusing our exam. Okay, in our exam, how the questions are coming, that type of 3 questions we'll do, and we'll finish the video. Okay, so we'll go to the question number 1. Question number 1. Okay, this question number 1. Okay, to count the number of lines starting with a digit. Okay, how we'll write this program? See how it has been written. We have opened a file object dot open and poem.txt have written, or you have to open it in read mode. So I think every time usually read mode is required for doing. Okay, read mode. So considering that already the poem.txt is already being written, and since we have to read the lines, you have to count the number of lines. So lines, the function is being used. What is the specialty of lines? It will return our output in list. Okay, so read lines will, so str is a list. Now you will be getting. Now I've taken a c is equal to 0 as a variable to count the number of lines, and I've taken for S in str. So str is a list and first S will be coming as the first line. This S will be the first line. Okay. Now what will be S of 0? S of 0 will be the first character of the line. We are checking whether is digit function, using is digit function. When you write is digit function, so it will check whether the first character is a digit. If it is a digit, then only it will count the character, it will increment C. Okay, so if the line is starting from a digit only, the C will be incremented. So when after that the next line will go, and like that when the string or the list is completed, you must have gone through all the lines of the poem.txt and it will print the count. Okay, now we'll just open the we'll run the program and see. Okay, we'll take run F5 0. The answer is, we will see the poem.txt. Poem.txt does not contain any line which starts from a digit. So we will put a digit over here. I'm giving a digit here and I am saving the file again and close the minimize the file, and again I am running the file. Okay, run. Okay, now it's okay, we have a line which starts from a digit, so that's because we are getting 1. Okay, so I think it is being clear how to use this, uh, how to write the program. Okay, anything which is starting from a digit. Next question is what this is the next question. Okay, to print the number of words whose length is less than 4, okay. So again we have opened the same poem.txt and it is opened in read mode. Str is equal to, here we have used read function. So student, I think it will be easier to use read function when word question comes. Okay, to count the words, to count the first letter of the word, like that. If it comes, you use read. And if you want to hold lines, has to be lines or something, how many number of lines or lines starting from this, and like that comes, you use lines, read lines function. Okay, that will do. So here we have used read function. Str is equal to myfile.read, word is equal to str.split function is being used. Now what is a split function? The split function, it will split. See, read function will give the output as a string. The string, wherever a blank space is there, so split, if you are not giving any argument, it will split the line which is having lines with space. Okay, so we will get words, separate words will be given. So word will be all the words which is there in the string. Okay, now coming to the you'll give C is equal to 0, and for W in words, this word, the first W will be the first word. Okay, then we'll see the length of the word. If the length of the word is less than 4, automatically it will be printed. Okay, we have to print the number of words. So it will be printing the words, and it will print the, it's not print the number of words, it print the print words whose length is less than 4. Okay, so it will print the words. We'll see how it runs. Okay, run the file. First we'll say we made some changes, so we'll save the file and then we'll run the file. See, these many number of words are there. We'll see here BID, it is a single word, and 3 is another word, it will consider as a word. ARA is another word. Okay, so this is how we can create this. It is being executed. Okay, I think it is clear for you. Okay, now next we'll do one more question. Okay, this is a question where it is asking to count the number of uh, to and the used in the file. To and the used in the file. So again, you have to split the files in words. So again, we have used the read function. Read function is being used, and the using the split the word, we all the number of words we'll be getting in word. And see, we're using the W. Okay, for loop W will for W in word. Okay, W, the first word W will be getting the first word. Now word will is checking whether it is to or it is the. If it is, then it will be counting. Okay, and it will be printing the it's no need to print here actually. I used it for it, and then go back. Okay, it will print the count. It will count if it is to or the, it will be C will be incremented, and coming out of the for loop you will get the count in C and it will be printed. So we'll save the file and we'll run the file. Okay, run the file. Okay, 2. Okay, there are two twos, and the we'll check whether it is there. See, there is a 2 here, there is a the here. Okay, so 2 and the will be printed. So it will be counting 1 plus 1, 2 is the answer. We'll check it out. We'll give one more 2 here. Okay, we'll give it here 2. Okay, so we'll save it and then minimize, and then we'll run again. Close this, and then we'll run again the same file. We must get 3, isn't it? Answer, we must get 3. Yes, okay, we got. Understood? So these three, I think these 3 types of questions, like counting the number of words, counting the number of to, the, present, or the lines starting from D, A, M, or digit, like that, everything will work. Okay, so I think it's we have to close the video. Okay, thank you.